This presentation will deal with general information, Turnitin sources, how to put things in your own words, what you should avoid, how to deal with stress, My Exam Invigilator app. I'm assuming Edith and Vinette that somebody else is letting all the students in that are joining us a little bit late.
That's fine.
Thank you. The paper itself is out of 75 marks. The weight is as it has always been, which is 20% of your mark will come from assignments, your final mark, 20% from assignments and 80% from exams. It is an open book exam, but we urge you strongly to prepare for it as if it was not. There is not enough time for you to be looking for things at that point. You have to use the Invigilator app. I have uploaded a series of documents and materials for you to find out how to utilize that. There are videos as well, and I know there's some training that Janisa is conducting. I think it's very important that you look at the documents on navigating My Exams and the Invigilator app, the proctoring, and of course, how to upload your profile picture. All of these are very, very important. Ideally, you should do the demo, download the app already, do the demo so you know how to navigate it and how to utilize it, read the documentation. You have to sign in to the app. You can do so before the exam, half an hour into the exam. If you have not signed in, you will not be allowed to sign in into the Invigilator app. I'll talk to the consequences of that right at the end, but just keep that in mind. So you have to sign in. Yes?
Is it half an hour before or after the session started that you cannot sign in anymore? Is it definitely half an hour after the exam started or half an hour before the session starts?
No, it's so it after half an hour after the exam starts. Sorry. You no longer can sign in. So our exam starts at 2 o'clock. You have it up. You can sign in 15 minutes before 2 o'clock, all the way to 2:30. After that, you will not be allowed to sign in. So you have 45 minutes in which to do this. Please do not do this. Do not be on the, no, don't try and do it as late as possible. At the end of the day, you have to sign in. You might as well do it beforehand. You know you've got all your technology sorted out before you do anything else. Please. We also strongly urge you to study all of the prescribed reading, the e-reserves, your study guide, your textbook. Remember what we have asked you to study. Please study it before the exam date. You cannot be studying and writing at the exams at the same time. I think, Edith, are you meant to take over from this point? I'm a bit lost, or is it just after?
It's after.
Okay, yes. As far as we know, and all of your submissions automatically go through Turnitin. You do not get to review the report, and we have no control over this process. Yes, it is only a tool to find out if you've copied from your study guide another source, such as online notes, or another student. There is no such thing as a correct percentage. Yes, we get reports and we look at the report and we interpret that. We have no control over it. There's no, oh, if it's less than this percentage, it's okay. What we are looking to see is, have you or other students used the same notes to copy from? Have you copied word from word, or have you copied word for word from the internet? So just remember that. The idea is to make sure that you are working from your own capabilities as far as possible. So the sources you have to utilize, and your prescribed reading material. You have a textbook, you have cases, you have legislation. Of course, you have a study guide that is a point of reference. Because it is a 4-hour exam paper, we are not looking to have footnotes. However, where relevant, for your answer, you will have to reference cases or sections of legislation that are directly part of your answer. You have to state it in your answer. So if there is, there is a case, a problem type question that looks exactly like one of the cases that is prescribed to you, know that we expect you to refer to that case. 4 marks. If you use online sources, and it will come up, Turnitin is really good. That is the quickest way for us to see that you've copied and pasted. So do not do that, please. Edith, do I pass it on to you now? If you want, I can continue to use the slides for you. You can tell me when to move.
Okay, you can continue with the slide. I will just thank you. I will just start on. I was supposed to start previous slide, but it doesn't matter. Can you please go back to the previous slide?
Yes.
Steps in putting in your own words. Yes, thank you. So on this, we're just trying to help students to put or to write in their own words, because we have realized, especially after marking assignment 1 and assignment 2, that we struggle to put in our own words. At the end of the day, we've realized that a lot of you have plagiarized your sources, because you just take the words as they are, or you regurgitate your sources without, even if you acknowledge, but if you regurgitate everything that has been written, it's also a form of plagiarism. So we encourage our students to write in their own words. And we've just come up with a few steps that could help. Actually, credit goes to Professor Sunil here. She presented this in one of the workshops that was organized by the Writing Retreat program. So I think what's really important, because your exam is 4 hours, you need to start practicing to put things in your own words, or to write in your own words before the exam. You won't have time to start practicing it only in the exam. Otherwise, time will run out from you before you even finish the paper. Even though it's 75 marks, I think you need to utilize the time very wisely. So when you are busy preparing for the exam, writing your notes, summarizing the work, start writing things in your own words as you prepare the exam. So these are the steps that Professor here, and we agree with the steps that she provided. The first one is you have to read. Obviously, you have to read your prescribed materials, you have to read your textbook, you have to read the cases, and you have to read the articles that were prescribed for you or that are prescribed for you. Just maybe before I go to step number 2, I just want to add on what Mr. Gama says on online sources. Please avoid using Wikipedia. Because it's not a verified source. It's not peer reviewed. Actually, most of the online sources are not peer reviewed, and they're not good to use as reference when you are answering your exam. We actually urge you to stick to the sources that you have provided in your e-reserves, your textbook, your study guide, your cases, and also the articles that were prescribed. And the second step is you must put what you have read in your own words. So what do we mean? Put it in your own words. What do you understand from maybe an example, a paragraph that you have read? And step number 3, if you put it down, what you have understood, compare what you have written with the original source and check if you have changed it in your own words. And when we say change it in your own words, we don't mean that you must put synonyms. So for example, if it says you change words or you replace words, it's still not putting the paragraph, for example, or the sentence in your own words, because you're just replacing the words that mean the same. And then step 4, you must add a citation. You must tell us where you got the answer from, if it's from the study guide, if it's from the textbook, or if it's from the articles. The following is, you can move on. Thank you. The following is an example that we took from the study guide to help. We tried to put it in our own words, tried to help you. So I'll just give us time to read the whole paragraph. I'm not going to read it out loud, but I'm going to give us time. Thank you. I will continue. Sorry, just go back to the previous slide, Rafia. Thank you. So as you can see, I'm sure we have all read the paragraph that we want to try and put in our own words. But we have also highlighted what we think are the most important themes in the paragraph. The first one is the paragraph is talking about spreading of risk. And the paragraph also brings out the notion of security, the need for security. It's also talking about distribution of risk. And the last important part that we thought the most important theme is an instrument for the spreading of risk. So the whole paragraph is trying to explain insurance as an instrument for spreading risk. You can you can move on to the next slide. Thank you. So on this slide, we have put the original paragraph as it is in the book, and the next one where it says next to it, my own words. So we have tried to write in our own words what we understood from the paragraph from the study guide, and I'm going to read out aloud. So the basic reason for having insurance is to share the risk of destruction or damage due to an uncertain event, such as floods. We all want to protect what we have, despite the dangers that may impact things we own. We therefore like to minimize any risk of loss. One of the ways is to spread the risk of such loss by sharing it with others. Insurance allows us to share the loss if it occurs with those, in a similar situation. Different people who own cars take out insurance with company X, for example. If, for example, this was in an exam, then you would have said you took this from the study guide. So this is just a different way of writing in our own ways. And you can appreciate that some of the things that we highlighted in the previous slide, we can still see them. The spreading of risk, security, that we want to protect our property, and also insurance. I mean, the role of insurance in the spreading of risk, and the reason why then people take insurance, for example. There are many ways of doing this, but what's important to take out from this is that you write in your own words, but do not change the meaning of the paragraph. And also do not use synonyms, exchange the words for synonyms. And you can see that the paragraph that we have put in our own words still retain the same meaning as the previous paragraph, even though it's shorter, but the crux of the paragraph still remains. So when you are studying and when you are preparing for the exam, we also urge you to try and put things in your own words, and try not to copy as they are from the sources that you are reading. I think this will be the end from me. Thanks, Rafia.
Thank you very much. And now we get to deal with problem type questions. This is Vanette Jacob speaking. So as you are exit level students, and this is a 4th year module, you'll note that you are expected to answer questions at a higher level. This is also because you are writing an open book exam. We cannot ask you just merely straightforward theoretical questions, because then it's about reading and not about comprehending and if you're understanding the work. So I'm merely going to take you through an example of a problem type question. There are many types of high level questions. Sometimes you need to distinguish, like you had to do in the assignment 1. Question number 2, that's it's a bit more difficult than merely giving definitions. You had to give a distinction between what is the insurance policy, insurance contract, and interim insurance. So there you had to go a bit beyond merely giving definitions, and then also giving a distinction. But even a bit more higher level would be a problem type question. So as you've got see on the screen, I'm going to give you some time to read this problem type question, the sample question, before we turn the page then to look at our approach. Okay, so a house bought for 1,000 rand, sorry, can we just go back, is insured by the owner for its market value at the time, namely 1,100 rand. Several months later, it's destroyed by fire and the insured claims an indemnification from the insurer. The insurer offers then to pay only 1,000 rand, namely the amount that the insured had paid for the house. The insured is unhappy about it, because the house was worth 1,200 rand at the time of the fire. Advise the insured. Okay, so now from the set of facts, there's a number of important things that one should pick up. One should note that you're dealing with indemnity insurance here, and the term indemnity is very important because you know indemnity deals with indemnifying the insurer for his loss that he suffered. He cannot make a profit. Then there's 3 amounts referred to here, 1,000 Rand, 1,100 Rand, and 1,200 Rand. So let's now turn to the next page. If one approaches a sample question, one should at first identify the legal problem, then very briefly set out the relevant principles, and then apply it to the facts. Now, to be able to identify a legal problem, you need to know your work. You need to have studied. You cannot on the day of the exam just page through your work and then identify where a certain legal problem comes from. So that's why I highlighted the word indemnification to you, because if you would have studied, you would have known that you have a chapter in your study guide, chapter 12, dealing with the principle of indemnity. And one of the subheadings is overinsurance and underinsurance. So if you would have studied, you would have known and picked up on it that in this instance, the insured was underinsured. Why? Because he was insured for 1,100 Rand, while the market value of the house at the time of the loss was 1,200 Rand. So that principle we call underinsurance. So that is what you would start off by writing, is that this deals with underinsurance. And then you would know the rule or the principle in that instance would be that in such an instance, an insured would be able to claim the smaller amount, either the sum insured or the amount that was lost. And in this instance, it would be the sum insured because he was underinsured. So only 1,100 Rand would be recoverable. Also in your study guide, the study guide deals with average. So average is automatic in marine insurance, but it can be made express to cases of non-marine insurance. So what is average? Average means that the insured is entitled only to a proportion of the indemnity, namely that proportion to which he or she was underinsured. But if you would look at the textbook, the study guide refers you to the textbook. There's a example of underinsurance in the study guide under paragraph 12.3.4. But if you would look at the textbook, it refers you also to paragraph 23.54 and some further paragraphs. You would note that average would actually only make a difference if it's an instance of partial loss. So in this case, it wouldn't have made a difference to the amount that would have been recoverable. So this is how you would answer a problem type question, is by following that 3 steps. First, identify the legal problem, then set out the principles very briefly again, and then by applying it to the facts. Always look at the mark allocation. While I've marked the assignment 1, in particular, the first question of assignment 1, which was not a problem type question, but was another type of question. Many students, the question read that students had to give examples of contracts that share common features with the insurance contract and give examples. Many students started off by writing a whole list of all the essentials of an insurance contract. That would have been half a page. Then only going over to other examples of insurance contracts and never actually answering the question. And in an exam of 4 to 5 hours, you will not have enough time to write out lengthy irrelevancies. And that is what I want to underline also from the previous speakers. If you have read and studied, and if you made the work your own and give it back to us in your own words, it would be much shorter than if you tried to just cut and paste from the textbook and give us lengthy quotes. So to summarize, again on problem type questions, that 3-step approach: identify the legal problem, set out the legal principles, which in this case was what happens in the instance of underinsurance, and then apply it to the facts to come to a conclusion. So in this instance, you would have concluded by saying that the insured would have been able to recover 1,100 Rand. So it's more than what the insurer would have wanted to pay, but also perhaps less than what the insured bargained on due to the fact that the insured was underinsured. I want to also mention, before giving over to Mrs. Dagama, that she'll also speak a bit later to what you need to study for the exam. But please in particular note that we've uploaded this sample question and another question for you under the discussion forums if you want to discuss it amongst yourselves. And we've also uploaded lecturers' aids on the welcome page under a separate icon for that. It's in no way scoping. It's not summaries, but it consists of a short introduction to each study unit with then some questions that you may consider and some answers. So there's some more questions for you to also practice in that set of notes. But once again, study that in conjunction with your study guide, with the prescribed textbook, with all the e-reserves, meaning the articles and the legislation and the cases which you should study. Thank you. I hand over to you, Ms. Dagama.
Thank you, Professor Jacobs. Let me just move on here. The other kind of question that I do think that from previous exams and so forth that we do find that some students may struggle with, and that is where we ask for a critical case discussion. And I just wanted to highlight this as a thing because, of course, you can substitute the word legislation, article in all of that. Anything that, we're asking you to focus on a very specific reading material and do a critical discussion. And this is, we do find that some students have difficulty with this. So it's, I thought, quite important just to very quickly go over this as well. Firstly, of course, you would have to talk to that reading material. In this case, I'm going to look at case. You have to tell us the facts, the decision, and the reasons. We need to understand that you know what happened in that case. Thereafter, and this is where I think your textbook and some of the articles that are particularly prescribed to you are very useful because they go on to discuss what happened in those cases. You will find that there are very specific and pointed criticism that is provided to you in your textbooks and in your articles. So we would need for you to not only summarily tell us the facts and decisions and the reasons for it, but also then to distill the criticism that you've read in your other material is for us to really see the synergy in your understanding of the full situation that is happening in that legal problem that we're wanting you to discuss. So here we would expect you to at least, sometimes we may give you the name of the case in instances. If we tell you a very specific legal question and it refers to a decision, you'd have to talk to that. You'd have to tell us what that case decision is. You'd have to also then when you are discussing the criticism, at least refer to authors or a source for that, because I understand that you may have viewpoints, your own personal viewpoints on things. We are very interested in how you look and you look for and understand the criticism of actual authorities who have criticism. I do not have my own personal opinion on most things because my own personal viewpoint on anything in insurance law is at this stage not authoritative. So we'd like you to refer to the actual authorities. And of course, in many instances, we'll ask you to use case law or articles or legislation as authority. And there you would have to, again, be able to reference those. And this is why we'd really think, you know, you'll see all through our narrated PowerPoints and so forth, we have constantly referred you back to the textbook, to the journal articles, to the case law. And that is really to always bring you back to what we prescribe to you. And those prescribed materials are essential to your understanding of insurance law. They are not nice to haves. So for example, this is a kind of questions that we could have where we specifically refer you to the Lake case, and we'll say this is what happened in the case. Could you critically analyze? So what are you expected to do here? I'm going to give you just 2 minutes to read this, and then we'll move on to the next slide. Okay. No, it's under 2 minutes, but I think this was it's quite big and easy to read quickly. So here, of course, you'll see there's a series of cases that dealt with insurable interest. And what that is, and whether somebody who has a direct, do you need to have that direct interest in the thing to be an insurable interest? And here, of course, not only do you have this case, but you have further cases that criticize it. You also have journal articles, and Reinicke, you'll see in these paragraphs specifically talk to that. So in those, it is very important, firstly, to identify what it is that we are asking you to criticize. So identify it. Say that, you know, here, for example, it's vague and not suitable for all purposes. Was it a correct thing? Explain why. What are the challenges that come from this? And of course, you know, would it include all forms of insurable insurances? Because of course, certain types of insurance does not require insurable interest. And, you know, that will make you, you know, that will give you that, you know, what you need for those 5 marks. So to recap, do not type out things as they are in your study guide and do a replace and find. We all know how to do that on a Word document. Please don't do that. We want to see that you understood the material. It does not work. Internet sources, I fully support everything that Ms. Mbiriri said, and I've said before. Also, please keep in mind that a lot of the internet is not South African internet. So you might refer to things from the internet, but it may not be about South African law. So please look at your e-reserves, look at the case law, journal articles, textbook. Please do not copy and paste from an internet source. And do not leave, of course, do not prepare for your exam. You do not have in that 4 hours, even maximum 5 hours, the time to copy and paste from different sources when you do not understand the work. You need to study. Okay. What we want, and if you study, your stress levels will go down. We know that from our own experiences as students that we were, some of us many more years ago than others. But just remember, the more you the more prepared you are, the less stressed you will be. Also have your notes ready and be able to use your own notes. Remember, we are talking about your own notes, not somebody else's, not copy and paste from whatever source. Have your notes ready, because that will be your understanding of the work. So what is it that you need to do practically? Where will you find your exam? You will find it on the UNISA URL. The page will look different, but we have a guide document that I've put up on my modules as well as later on also in my exams, but please read through those. Read through Navigating My Exams, the guidebook on Invigilator app, the proctoring app system as well as the profile photo. And there are a host of other ones that are also there. How to convert your documents into PDF, how to do that with handwritten documents, how to compress a PDF document. Remember, your document has to be in a PDF format. And it has to be uploaded both to My Exams and to the Invigilator app. Always remember, you have to upload it to both. I would advise you, and this comes from colleagues who had students writing the exam on Friday, which was the first day, to do it first on My Exams, and then you know, just in case there are any technical difficulties, make sure you upload it on My Exam first and then the Invigilator app. But please do that. Remember, you need to be logged into both during your exam. Now, you need to download the app. If you have not done so already, download the app. The links to that is available on your My Modules as well as My Exams. It is a step-by-step user guide. We've been told by other students that it works. It's very good. It explains things very well. Please follow it. And you can do a demo. So you download it and then try and do the demo so you can get used to the technology. Please. You have to, as I've said, submit your script on the app and on My Exam. What is very important is if you end up in any form of trouble with the Invigilator app, there's only the WhatsApp line for support, but I have been told that is the number for it. And I have it on good source that they do come back to you fairly quickly if you have a problem. So please keep this number safe for you to utilize if you run into problem with the Invigilator app. And as I've said before, please do your demo test before the exam. You will not have the time to figure that out and do your exam at the same time. Please. You will there's a QR code. You'll find this on the My Module as well as My Exam. You have to use this QR code. It's specific, as you'll see, to the LML 405. You have to use the exact QR code. You have to scan it for the Invigilator app. Okay, so an open book exam counts marks, must finally study all your prescribed reading material, test books, study guide, cases, articles, please, before the exam date. If you need assistance, you can email your lecturers. That is all of us. Those are our email addresses. I would suggest you CC the other two lecturers because you may have bits of, sort of like in a time that one lecturer is unavailable, but at least you've CC'd everyone else so that, we'll try and get back to you between the three of us as quickly as possible. Okay. I'm going to get out of this so I can talk to you now. And if there are questions, and I could hear from all the pings that they were quite, there's, I assume there were lots of questions in the chats, or if you have any questions. Oh, it was just a lot of students entering. Welcome, everyone. Please, if you have any questions, you have a bit of time, please raise your hand, and then we'll try and answer it as well as possible. Yes, I see a hand, and it is from Takalani. Go ahead, Takalani.
Hi, ma'am. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Go ahead.
Mine is a simple one. I wanted just to find out, because I just seen on the timetable the other day that the module is almost 4 hours. But when I seen the other exams for this particular module, they used to be, I think, overnight. Wanted to find out the reasons maybe for having a 4 hours rather than having an overnight exam. Thank you.
I can try to answer that, but I think I should give it to Professor Jacobs before I do that.
I think there's a number of reasons. I think one is that there's integrity issues, if students write such long exams, because such long exams cannot be proctored. Mm-hmm. And we want to uphold the academic integrity of our degrees and our modules. So I think that played a very big role in limiting the time that students can write. And then I would like to also remind you that a few years back, before COVID, when students still wrote these exams in venues, they actually had even less time. I think Ms. Mbariri didn't they have 2 hours at a point? Yeah. So so the 24 hours actually came about when we first moved online and when it was still new. But I think the university is then moving away from it again to allow and to cater for better academic integrity. Also, we try to now make it less marks. It's now out of 75, not 100. And then number 2, we'll also, as Mrs. De Gama said, we'll keep it in account when we mark. So when it was out of 24 hours, we really wanted detailed footnotes and a detailed bibliography. Mm-hmm. We would now actually go back to the system that we had, more referencing like in brackets, or just a good motivation, refer to your references, not as such technical references as we would have preferred. I don't know if you want to add anything, Ms. Mbariri.
I think you have covered everything, Prof. Jacobs. Just maybe to just stress on the issue of academic integrity. But like you've said previously, when it was venue based, we first had 2 hours, and then we had 3 hours of the exam. So I think giving the 24 hours, there were issues of academic integrity that, like you have just pointed out. It's very easy for someone to ask somebody else to write for them and then submit. And there were so many issues with regards to that. We must also appreciate that when we first went online, we've learned some lessons, and we are trying with taking it back to 4 hours, also having a live invigilation occurring. At least we can guarantee that if it's Edith who's sitting for the exam, it is Edith who's going to submit that exam. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Jacobs and Ms. Mbariri. I think you've covered everything, and I agree with everything you've said. I see, Riachile, you have a question? Hand up.
Yes, hi to all. I just wanted to ask if we can write this exam, since it's 4 hours, and it's just much quicker to write instead of typing in some instances.
You will see that we accept handwritten as well as typed. The only thing, and I will say this, I would really appreciate it if it was handwritten, that it was written very neatly. I think as technology has advanced, we've become much worse at writing. And what happens is that if your handwriting is not very clear, we cannot, and if we cannot read it, that is, we don't, you will actually lose marks just because we can't read it. So make sure that you are at least writing very clearly. You'll see in the various documents that have been put up, we have talked about how to upload handwritten as well as the typed documents. So you're allowed to do both. But please have good handwriting, because it can be a struggle. I see, Regila, is your hand still up? Do you have a second question? I do see Musa as well.
No, I don't have a second question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Obed, Musa, do you have a question? Go ahead. Hello? I see your hand, but we can't hear you. It's Obed Musa Mate. Hello? We cannot hear you. I see it. I'll come back to you. I see J.N. Sekele. Can we have your question? We'll come back to Obed, hopefully. If we can't hear you, maybe you can also type it in the chat. That might make it easier. Go ahead, J.N. Sekele. If you don't have a question, please mute yourself, because that could also be part of the issue. Lutando, I see your yes, if you could just put yourself on mute, that would be great. Jane Sekele? Go ahead. You'd have to unmute yourself for the question. I see two people with hands up, but you're not unmuting yourself to ask the question. Jane Sekele, go ahead. Obi Mosiaklaga, I'm gonna go with you.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I hope I said your surname right.
I'm also fine. Yes, I'm also fine. Ma'am, I wanted to ask, will it be possible if maybe these recordings of the class can be sent to students on my live mail or on the announcement? Because I just entered the class 30 minutes ago. There's a problem of network. So
I will
get this.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll be putting it up on our the classroom, so it'll be there, and I'll try and put it on my modules.
Okay.
I'll discuss with the other lecturers if we should go as far as to email it to every single student, because I know some students don't like that.
We really appreciate it.
Okay, Jen Sekele, I'm trying to unmute you. I can.
Okay. Yes, okay.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to do this, but I see your hand and I'm unable to mute you, so it's very annoying.
Rafa, I wonder if it's got to do something with the settings, that students that's on guest.
Oh, they're not actually class. They are not actually inside the class. You haven't signed up for class.
If you can go to more,
Mm-hmm.
if you can go to more and to
make an attendee. There we go. Change. There we go. Thank you so much. that should have helped. Just see if I can make all of them make. Can you now? I'm trying. Allow mic. That should help. You should be able to unmute yourself, Mr. Jane Sekele. Can I lower your hand, Mr. Obi? Because I see that you may not have you've asked your question already. And I also see Mr. Molefe. Can you go ahead?
Hi everyone. My question was, how many questions do we have?
I'm just trying to remember from when I set the paper. There are 4 questions, but of course they will have subsections, and I can't tell you exactly how many of those there are.
No, but generally, and this is very general, there's mostly the questions count towards 5 or 10 marks. It can be that there's a 4-mark question, but yes, it's like as the Gama said, 3 to 4 questions, and then with sub questions amounting to 75 marks.
Okay.
Yeah. So that should help, I think. Lutando, go ahead. And I see maybe there's a question. Lutando, go ahead, and I will answer Obed's question as well. Go ahead. Lutando, you're unmuted. Go ahead. Lutando? Lutando Nzambo. I think you're also a meeting guest, make an attendee, so I'm going to change that. Go ahead. You should be able to talk to us now. Go ahead. Lutando? I don't know what the issue is. I can't hear her as well. I have changed her profile as an attendee. The question that Mr. Mate has is that we have 4 hours of writing, which is true, an additional 1 hour of trying to submit. What if we experience load shedding just before you submit? And this is outside of our hands, but from what I understand is that you will have to take screenshots and then apply for Agrotat. That is my understanding at this point. It is quite serious, but it really is outside of our hands. I do think that what I would advise you to do, and I know it's not always practical, but keep a good eye on your area and when they have the load shedding. And if you can go to an area where there isn't load shedding during that time, just to be on the safe side, please do so.
Rafia, can I just add on that as well?
Sure.
Yes, because I think most of us will be using our laptops or maybe our phones to download and upload the exam. I think one advice that we have been given is that please charge your devices, make sure that they are charged, so that in the case maybe where there's load shedding now when I'm about to submit and my laptop still has power or my phone still has power to scan the answers and submit them. But like we've said, some of the things are beyond our control, but also let's try to mitigate the risk from our side as well as students. If our laptops should be charged and also our phones should be charged so that if something like that happens, then we can submit, or we still have time, we still have power to submit the assignments.
Thank you, Ms. Mbriri. Thank you. That's actually very good advice. I see Ms. Nigeteng Isaiah Kekana, and then I'd see Ndumiso Ndlovu. I think we go first to Kekana. Go ahead.
Good day, ma'am.
Good day.
Good day. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay. What I'm not sure about is the submission process. I understand that you spoke about the submission through my UNISA, as well as submission through both submission on my UNISA, as well as what do you call it?
The Invigilator app.
Invigilator app.
Yes.
I'm not sure on, okay. I've used it before when we do multiple choice question. I know what it does. But I'm also confused, maybe it might not necessarily be applicable to this subject. There's a module, module. They call it module, am I right?
Yes, modules, my module, yes.
Where you, yes.
Sorry, yes, Rafia. Sorry, are you referring to Moodle proctoring, sir?
I'm not sure. What is it? Model MOODLE.
Proctoring, the webcam.
I don't know what is that. Where you have to download it. I think I've downloaded it. Well, I prefer using a laptop or a desktop, not my cell phone, because it's not user friendly for me. So that model app I've loaded on my phone, but I tried to load it on my desktop, so it's a little bit difficult for me to do so because I'm using Apple. Now, what I looked at the module, I don't know if it's applicable for this subject for the purpose of submission. When you use, because I think I've looked at how you open the app and put a URL there so that it can direct you to my user courses. Okay, I was able to do that on my phone, but I find it to be taking me to the very same site if I were to just have a URL on my desktop and go and access my profile and everything on my UNISA. I don't know whether that makes any significant differences.
Firstly, you'll be using My Exams and the Invigilator app for this. So that is a separate app that you need to download. I'm not quite sure what it is that you're talking about, but you have to download it, and you will see that there are student guides on the module site for LML. I've put the student user guides there. So please go through them. They should help you download and use both the My Exams and the Invigilator app. The one guide actually talks about specifically the navigation of the My Exams.
Okay, the portal where I'm gonna access my question is my question paper.
Is My Exams.
Yes,
My Exams,
is where I'm gonna submit my exam, right?
Yes. And on the Invigilator app.
As well as the individual app.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Great. But sorry, may I just come in here? Please, very important, we do not have a quiz in this exam. LML 4805 has a take-home exam. We're not having a quiz, and it's not proctored with Moodle. So the important terms for us is take-home exam. You know, we're writing a take-home exam invigilated by the Invigilator app. So there's an exam pack that specifically speaks to that. And I think Mrs. De Gama have uploaded that on the module site, or would do so, or on the exam site.
Yeah, it's on both. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So don't use documents of other modules, other exam packs for this module, because you get different types of exams which use different types of technology. Ours is a take-home exam with the Invigilator app. And there's wonderful webinars. I actually looked at one Friday evening at a student webinar with the recordings and everything, where you can look at exactly everything, where they show you the Invigilator app guide, and they say, phone this number, the 073 number, if you've got any inquiries about how to navigate.
And the recording is also on our My Module site on the LML 4805. So if you needed to have somebody talk you through the process, just look at the recording.
Okay, thank you.
Dumisa Ndlovu, and then Farai Vispa, and then Mbali Shambango. Go ahead, Dumisa.
Thank you. But I think Professor just answered my question.
Brilliant.
Because my
Excellent.
question was
Thank you.
around.
Excellent. Thank you. Farai?
Excuse me, I'm not sure if I heard you quite clearly when you mentioned, in fact, these two things. Did you say that there is a practice question somewhere which we can discuss as students?
Professor Jacobs.
It's the same one that I've just discussed with you. I've uploaded, if you go to the module site and you just navigate down.
Oh, so that's the only question.
Well, yes, there's a question, and then you can also look at the student aid pack. There's also questions in those.
So where should I look at?
Okay, also on the module site, we've uploaded a PDF document that contains lecturers' notes. So there's also a number of questions there. I'm not sure what type, but there's a selection of questions there.
Okay, yeah. So probably that's the document I'm looking for, and I can't find it. It's under what when I'm on my modules.
If you go there, you will actually see it as on the first page. If you scroll down, it's one of the two documents. The others are folders, but there are two documents, and you'll see you should be able to see it on the first page. Am I right, Professor Jacobs?
Yes, if you go there and the easiest way to call this, if there's no yellow folders left on your screen, you'll see there's a little arrow, a yellow arrow pointing up or down. If you press that, it will expand all the others that's actually below your bar, and it will then bring up extra ones. So there should be a folder dealing with plagiarism, with a PowerPoint plagiarism, and then there's a folder dealing then with, I think I called it lecturers' aids. Can you see it?
So I can see the folder with plagiarism, and then dashboard, calendar, FAQs, prescribed material, official study material. I've opened all those items and I don't find
No.
any.
Don't open anything. Don't open anything. Just
Okay.
If you go.
When I go down, welcome.
No, just go welcome. Read the welcome message. Keep going down. Keep scrolling down on the welcome message. You will see announcements, tutorial letter, study guide. Don't do anything to it. Go further down. There's a thing that says student aids, and on the side it says plagiarism paraphrasing.
Yes, I see that.
Do you not see student aids? Because I can see student aids there.
I can see student aids.
That's what she's talking about.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, when I click student
click on it.
Something's up, nothing's happening.
Let's see if you click let's start. Click on the thing that says let's start, and then it's still hidden. I can see that it's still hidden.
Is it hidden? Let me quickly unhide it quickly then.
Thank you. Sorry, it's just that I can see it, so I didn't realize. I just read the fine print there. Farai, you should be able to see it quite soon. We don't have much time because we've already gone more than we should have. So I'm going to take Mbali's question now.
Sorry, and my second question was, I was having a network challenge. I heard you mentioning something along the line scope and like, I'm not sure how that statement ended.
Excuse me?
There was a time you mentioned something about scope. I was having network issues, so I'm not quite sure how that statement ended, what you were saying about scope.
No. We basically said we are not doing a scoping exercise.
Oh, that's what you were saying. Okay.
Okay, I just really want to take Mbali Shbangu's questions because I know we've gone over time already. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. I'm not going to be too long. Just
Sure.
want clarity with regards
Excuse
to
me, somebody has their thing on and we can hear you struggling a little bit. I'm going to mute you. Yes, go ahead, Mbali.
Great, thank you. I wanted to find out, well, get clarity with regards to the Invigilator app, right?
Sure.
So I did attend the webinar, but the confusion is with the webinar, right? I'll be using my phone for the Invigilator app and obviously my laptop to type the exam. But then I'm not really sure how then am I able to upload the exam script, the actual exam script, when I'm using the Invigilator app with my phone and I'm typing with my laptop, because only with the Invigilator app, they said that it will ask you to either take a picture of yourself or your student card or your ID, or take a picture of your exam script, which that I can do. But to actually upload the actual exam whilst I'm typing with my laptop and I'm using the Invigilator app on my phone, how do you actually do that?
I think that to me, practically the easiest thing would be to send it from your laptop to your phone.
Is it? Okay.
I'm just thinking in practical terms. I actually don't know the exact answer. Professor Jacobs, do you perhaps have something about that?
They touched on that on Friday evening's webinar. So there is, I think if you go through that student pack that they're referring to, it's a blue document, a step-by-step document. They should deal with it there. If they don't deal with it there, phone that 073 number, because the presenter in particular spoke about students using their cell phones for the Invigilator app and their laptops for answering the questions. So it is dealt with. Just go through that manual.
Thanks, we'll do that. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thank you, Professor Jacobs. I'll come to you, Farah. Your hand is still up. Do you have any question? And then Lesedi. Farah, do you still have a question?
Oh, sorry, I just forgot to put my hand down and put it down,
right.
but I still can't access that document, and I hope I'll be able to before you close.
I hope so too. I'll recheck it as well. It should.
I've just unhit that one. You can check if you can see it.
Okay. Let's hope so. Bontle, can we go to your question and then come back to confirm with Farai?
Good day, everyone.
Good day, Lesedi.
Just to answer Mbali's question, I was writing banking law on Friday. In order to upload the exam, you need to take pictures of it, because the only device you are using for the Invigilator app is your phone. So if you're using your laptop to type, the only way to upload it is to take pictures, and then it can convert it to a PDF document for you, and you just upload it.
Oh, that's helpful. Thank you so much, Lesedi. Very helpful.
No problem.
I always appreciate how students are always so good to help each other. Farai, have you been able to see it?
No, there's still nothing.
Okay.
Maybe if you can just post it on the chat facility, that would just help, because the time where the exam is.
It's no longer hidden for students. I can tell you that from my side. I can see it because it tells us that it's hidden, and it's no longer hidden.
Okay, I don't know if any
Farai?
other. Yes.
I think you need to refresh the page because there were changes that were made when the page was open. So refresh the page and see if it doesn't appear.
Yes, I actually logged in and logged out and logged in again.
Oh,
or maybe
gosh.
let me just do it again, maybe.
Yeah, I just want to confirm this because I'd love for that. Chandra Kruger, Adams.
Hi everyone. Yes, I just refreshed my page and it is available. So maybe just refresh and we'll go in and go out and then it should be there.
Okay, I'm crossing my fingers here. MM, see a hand up, but it's somebody called MM. And now it's disappeared. Farai, do you want to?
Thank you. I got it
Is
now.
it there? Excellent. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Okay.
I'm going to save this recording. It will be on our class site on Teams. I'll try and put it onto our My Module site as well as soon as possible. Just wanted to say from my side, good luck with the exams. Good luck with all of your exams. And I know this is a bit of a learning curve for you, but it's just as much a learning curve for us. We hope it goes smoothly and it goes well. I'll give the floor to Professor Jacobs and Edith Mbiriri.
Thank you very much. And the same from me. Best wishes for the exam. And remember, while you are writing, we are on an exam platform where we've got access to people who can assist. Don't keep your technical inquiries or your research for then. And obviously, we can't give you exam answers. But if you battle with something, phone us or actually send us an email, and then we can assist. Although we cannot grant you aggregates or things like that, but if you do need help, send us an email.
Ms. Mbiriri?
Thank you. Just from my side to say all the best. When you get the exam paper, please read the questions and understand them before you answer, to avoid answering or providing irrelevant information. I think that's from my side. All the best.
Yes. Thank you for attending. Appreciate it. And good luck. Have a great day further.
Thank you. Thank you to my colleagues as well. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.